Hello everyone, welcome to the latest review on this time a BMW 1 Series. This is the 118 diesel automatic M Sport. It's a 2016 model, so it's Euro 6, and if you're in London it's ULEZ compliant, so fantastic. And it's only £30 road tax. Would you believe that, eh? So this is the car that came out, this is the facelift model that came out in about 2014 all the way to about 2019. So if you get these, it will look like that. You will see the previous, I think this is the best of this generation. So this facelift with the lights slightly shortened there, and then actually a reverse to their usual convention. I think the grille's a little bit smaller, but anyway, the lights are a lot thinner, and I think it just sets it off nicely. This is the best look for this generation, which originally came out around 2010. So yeah, lovely. Let's have a look around. Again, being the M Sport, it looks nice and aggressive with the nice deep front bumpers. The SE spec of this car does not look as good. It still looks acceptable, but again, I sound like I'm repeating myself, like with the 2 Series Grand Tourer, but really you do need these M Sport body kits on these BMWs. I mean, if you get them without, I don't know why, because I just think it's sacrilege not to get a BMW with M Sport body kit at least. If you can't afford the M Sport M car itself, you've got to get the normal 1 Series with a body kit on it. You have to. Look at that. It's not like these body kits make it look too loutish. It is standard manufacturer spec. I never like aftermarket additions, so this is all manufacturer standard, and it just sets it off. The nice wider side skirts there. I just love the front, and this one's got the upgraded LED lights, and if you do buy a second-hand one, you definitely need to source one with the LED lights. It really sets it off, and it gives it that amazing look, especially at night. So it doesn't do justice in this daylight, but I'll try and see if I can get a nighttime photo in the collage at the end. But look at that. Let's have a little walk around. Got a bit overexcited, I haven't even gone round. I love these upgraded alloy wheels there. I think they're 18 inches, are they? Let's double check. Yes, they are 18 inches. 225/40 ZR18. Perfect size for this car. Fills the wheel arches nicely without looking too big, and there's just enough on the profile of the tyres to keep the ride firm still, but acceptable, you know, so you can use it as a daily driver. But look at the poise of the car. It's got perfect proportions all around. Look at it. Look at that. You got the quintessential, can't get my words out there, quintessential long looking front bonnet there, and of course the kink at the back. There you go. And the rear, they've upgraded the lights in the rear just to go like that, which I think looks much nicer, and sculpted the back. So the M Sport bumper there at the back as well, slightly deeper, and you got to love the aerial, the dolphin aerial. So in terms of proportions, it just looks lovely, and I love these bulge. They all do. BMW do this, a good thing about getting slight bulge on the rear here that makes it just feel a lot wider and tauter to the ground without overdoing it, in my opinion. But all the crease lines are in the right place. It's really good ergonomic design. Does it look prettier than an A-Class? Maybe not, but it looks a shed load more aggressive and sporty, doesn't it? The A-Class, I think, is like your dinner suit or a black dress, whereas this one is your high-end sports gear for when you want to go for a run, you know, that sort of thing. Both look great, but for their own individual purposes. That's how I see it. But I just love the look of this car. You will not look out of place anywhere in this car, with a 5-star hotel or going down to the local supermarket. Right, let's have a look at the interior before we go for a test drive. So you'll soon find out. Oops, I got to remember with this, you got to double press the unlock button to get all the doors open. So I didn't do that. Let's start at the front since we're here. Now the dash, it's not the most exciting in the world, is it? Let's be honest. But the infotainment system is very responsive. All the dials are typical BMW, very clear. And again, have I told you about these M Sport steering wheels? This 3-spoke one is lovely, my favourite. It's the similar one to the one that's on the 2 Series. You gotta have this steering wheel. Just sets it off. I really don't like the ones on the SE spec, which are like big and fat. I don't like it. I like this small, round, circular airbag. Just really nice, this. But yeah, it doesn't feel as special when you versus a A-Class, unfortunately. But everything is, you know, very well put together. Some of the plastics are like this. Look, they're very brittle and hard, but they're very solid and won't fall off, basically. And in terms of the trim itself, here it's good quality leather that they've used. And in this version, you got the Alcantara, half Alcantara bolsters with the cloth seats. So it's usually they come with cloth seats or these Alcantara seats. But if you can, I think my choice would be to go get the ones with the genuine leather seats. I'm not a big fan of Alcantara. They're really hard to keep clean. So do bear that in mind, especially if you're going to have kids in the back. So yeah. In terms of the driving position, it's very low and hunkered down to give you that sporty, being in a cockpit type driving dynamics, whereas the A-Class is more for your cruising gently downtown and looking good. Obviously, when we look at the interior, A-Class wins it. The infotainment system, the BMW wins that hands down. It's so much more responsive. But yeah, interior wise, A-Class wins. But hey, this isn't too bad. It's not shabby. It looks nice, good quality all round. Let's look at the back. The space in the back is relatively good. If you're a child and you're less than 5 foot tall. If you're an adult, however, the leg space is very limited. This is at my driving position, and as you can see, there's not much leg space. And underneath, you can just about squeeze your toes in because the seats are not on plinths and the runners are really low, so there's not much space there. But you should get 2 adults in comfortably. 3 adults are gonna have to get very friendly because there's a big hump there in the middle, and these seats, the bolsters, they go inwards. Can you see? They move inwards, so everyone's gonna get very cozy if you have 3 adults. But mostly these are for people with young children that have these cars, and so in that sense there's plenty of space in here. And these bolsters are really long, so if you get really good, even if you've got adults in here, you've got really good under thigh support, so they're very comfortable for long journeys, as long as you don't have 3 adults, as I've said. It's easy enough to get 2 child seats in there, and yeah, everyone will be happy. And if it isn't families, it's usually young people that really don't care about the space. They're more interested about how good this looks. So enough of me babbling on. Let's go for a quick test drive of this lovely car. My goodness, this thing goes. This 2-litre diesel engine is superb. So much low-end grunt, and it delivers it so smoothly without any of the usual diesel rattles. Of course, this is the same engine that I was enthusing about on the 2 Series Grand Tourer. Now this is mated to the small little number that is the 1 Series. So you've got the perfect combination of lighter bodywork, same power, which makes for a highly entertaining driving experience. Oh my goodness, yes, this is lovely. This is a sweet little car. This is a good one, guys and girls. This is a good one. My goodness, and it handles so well around the corner like this. Look at this. No body roll, hardly any. And the steering is so nice and direct. Wow. This is fantastic. What a nice driver's car this BMW 1 Series is. The only downside to it is that the larger alloys with the low profile tyres does mean that you do feel the bumps a little bit, and being the N Sport, obviously you get the slightly harder suspension, but you need it for the sporting. You can't have sporting driving dynamics and a squidgy suspension. Of course, these are available with adaptive dampers, but they're very rare and quite an expensive option, so very few people had them. So if you do find a second-hand one with adaptive dampers, you'll have the best of both worlds. Otherwise, as it is, it's fine. I'm really being picky, to be honest with you. If you drive this car, it will put a smile on your face, even on a humdrum going A to B to the Lidl, Tesco, to work, dropping the kids off to the nursery, whatever you need to go to the mother-in-law. You know, you can turn up with to the mother-in-law's house with a smile on your face, and only this car can do that for you. Now, if a car can do that, then it's definitely worth considering, don't you think, ladies and gentlemen? Yes, yes, yes. I hope my wife isn't listening to this video. I'm going to get in trouble, aren't I? Hold on, I'm supposed to be reviewing a car, aren't I? Oops. If I get marital issues, guys and girls, you know why. If you don't see any more videos, it's because the missus has got very angry with me, and rightly so. Anyway, this car is fantastic. Let's go for a final review. Bye bye. Well, what a drive, eh? I don't want to sound like a BMW fanboy, but you know, you gotta give credit where it's due. This car, my goodness, it drives fantastic and lives up to the moniker of the BMW, which is the ultimate driving machine. In terms of the executive hatchback, you will not get, this is the outright king when it comes to like sporting dynamics and smile a mile driving. This car, you shouldn't look anywhere else if that's your sole requirement. I mean, in terms of looks, obviously it's subjective. I think in M Sport spec it looks spot on. I think it just looks the part. You can go anywhere with this. Look cool with the youngsters, look sophisticated with your jet set lot. It covers everyone really, and it looks really sporty, doesn't it? And of course, this is the one that had the rear wheel drive, not like the current 1 Series where they've made them front wheel drive. So this is the last of a generation, and hence why it's so enjoyable to drive. So how does this compare to the A-Class and the Audi A3? Well, it depends on what you want really. I would say it's a choice between, I would ditch the A3 and I'll choose between this one and the A-Class. So it depends. If you want comfort and you want to look, if you want the interior, because this loses out on the A-Class in terms of the design of the interior. The material quality is better on this BMW, but as you see, the interior does look a bit aged and a bit bland when you compare that to the equivalent A-Class. So if you want that and you don't want to look, because this car, I have to be honest, it's quite aggressively styled. So if you want something a bit softer, more how do you say, looks a bit more sophisticated, then you got to go for the A-Class. But the only problem with the A-Class is driving dynamics wise, it's a blancmange. This day and night difference between that and this. Strolling around town is nice on the A-Class, but if you want enjoyable driving and if you do a lot of motorway driving, for example, or you want put a smile on your face in terms of how your car drives while ferrying your kids around, this is the car to go for. That's the stark choices really. So make your mind up, which one do you like? But either case, whether it's the BMW or the A-Class, please go for the biggest engine you can afford. The small 1.5s, like the A-Class 1.5 diesel is a Renault derived one, so it's in like the Renault Kadjar, the Renault Clio, the Nissan Qashqai. When you're driving a Merc with an engine from a Nissan and Renault, but that engine is rubbish. The 1.5 BMW 1 Series petrol diesels versions that they have, they're absolute rubbish and they're not reliable. They are not underpowered, they sound like tractors, and they are unreliable. Whereas this 2-litre engine on this one, the diesel, it's like built like a tank. It is really robust, it gives you the power, and it's low maintenance. I've had loads of these diesels and they just, as long as you maintain them. The problem is the people you see online that are whinging are the ones that don't maintain the cars. It's a bit like us humans. If we don't maintain ourselves, what happens? Right? We don't move around as well, we get sick, etc. But when we look after ourselves, we run better. as do these cars. So just maintain them and they'll be fine. And took on in maintenance cost on the BMW is really cheap. I had this service at the main dealer for £219, and servicing is long intervals up to 20,000 miles, but I normally get it serviced every 10, and you can get a basic oil change done at BMW main dealer for 120 quid even in between. So can't say fairer than that. And parts are readily available, they're not that expensive. The A-Class by equivalent is a lot more expensive to maintain, and the automatic gearbox, the ZF on this one, is a lot more reliable than the A-Class. And it's a lot more smoother in terms of the delivery of power and gear changes, whereas the A-Class is a little bit more jerky and not as good overall. So you can see why this 1 Series is such a compelling choice. It's actually got it's highly reliable in the executive class, probably the most reliable executive hatchback you can buy. Actually, not probably, I think it is, based on my personal experience. This is more reliable and cheaper to maintain than the equivalent Audi A3 or Mercedes A-Class. The only thing that beats it really is the Lexus CT, but then really, God blimey, you have to be retired, don't you, if you wanted to buy a Lexus CT? If you're not retired, I apologise for my senior citizens, but you know what I mean. It's like, you don't compare this to a Lexus CT, you know. I give up. It's sacrilege, really. You can't do that. Anyway, go for this if you want sporting drive. And it's cheap. You know, you get nearly 50 miles per gallon on the motorway on this 2-litre diesel, and it's £30 road tax for 2 pre-2017 models. So, you know, it's a compelling choice. The one to go for, sweet spot, like I said, is this 2-litre diesel. Get the automatic gearbox. Try and find ones with leather interior. BMW, unfortunately, on the 1 Series especially, are very, very stingy with the spec. Like, even this didn't come with standard with parking sensors. You had to pay an extra £395 for it. It's ridiculous, isn't it? But what can you do? That's BMW, that's how they make their money. But it's a well-built car, drives fantastic, better than the other executive cars. The only thing downside to this car compared to its competitors is that the A-Class has a better looking interior. Otherwise, there's no other reason why you shouldn't go for this one. So I hope you like my review. Leave some comments and see you on the next one. Bye bye.